And welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel, and in this one I'm showing you 3 different ways this refers to different things in JavaScript. So I'm going to explain this, and by the end I'm going to also give you a few exercises, 2 exactly, in which you which test your knowledge on this keyword. And first of all, let's just go inside a new tab here and click on inspect to pull up our Google Chrome DevTools. And if I go inside the console and just print out this, we'll see that this keyword refers to the window object when in the browser. And now I have opened this app.js file, and when I do console.log and log out this and just run my file in Node, I'm going to get this empty object that refers to this empty module. So that's what this refers to in Node. Guys, here I have the second example of where this can be used. So if I have just simple index HTML page, and here in my body I have a button that says just click. Here it is in my as shown in my website, and here I just have a method handle click that is given to this onClick attribute, and as a parameter I pass this as a parameter, and when I call this function, when this function gets triggered, basically event handler, I print out this parameter that I'm passing, basically this keyword. And now when I click this button, I get the element that triggered the function. And instead of passing it like this, I can delete all of this and delete this function as well on click. And instead of passing it a function, I can run some JavaScript code inside here. And what I'll do is say this, and which refers to the element, to this button, and then say style, so I can tap into the style of this button element, and then I can say dot and tap into the display property and set it to none, like this, with these parentheses. Then if I save this file and go inside my browser to check how my button is doing, and then if I click it, it will disappear because the display is none. So this is another way you can use this, which is very interesting. So it's important for you to know that this keyword refers to the object it belongs to, or with other words, it references the object that executes the current function. So when I do something like this, I will define a constant of object called doc, and I give it a title or a name of just dog1, and if I give it a method called run, and in this run method I just do console.log and I print out this. And now if I call this run method by doing dog.run, and if I run my file, then we'll see that this refers to this entire object. And now for the first exercise. So if I do function and then a function with a capital D, capital letter, because it's going to be a constructor for an object, and here actually I want to pass a title, or let's just say name, and I will say something like this dot name, and set it to name, and then I'll do console log and say this. And if I now say dog1, initialize dog1 and set it to new dog, what do you think will happen? This is the first exercise. Oops, actually I forgot to give it a name of, let's just say dog1. If I now run this, we'll get printed out the object that this refers. So inside a function, when called like this, when an object is initialized from a function with the new keyword, then we create a new object, and when this function, or I should say constructor, gets called this refers to this object, and that's why you can do something like this.name and give the object a property of name and set its value to the name you pass it, in my example dog1, and you get this thing printed out. And now for the second exercise. So for this one I want to just do a dog object because we love dogs, and now I want to give it a name property of, let's just say, rock, and another property of nums. And here in the nums property I want to give it a 1, 2, 3. It will be an array, and another method that will say print nums. And in this method I want to tap into this object with the this keyword and say nums and say for each, because I want to of course print out all of the numbers. And I want to pass here a function like this, and this function will basically print out all of the numbers. And I want to say console.log and say num, and here in the function we'll have a parameter num. And now if I do dog.print nums and of course run my code, I get 1, 2, and 3. And now how would you go about printing this name 3 times? So we'll go about this by doing this.name. And now if I run my code, I should get rock printed out 3 times, because this triggers for every element of this array, this function, and we have 3 elements in this array, so it will print out the rock 3 times. Don't you think? Let's see. And it actually does not print. And it actually, if you run this code, you'll see that instead of rock we get undefined, because this is a regular default function, and in this one this, so it's out of scope of this object. And this function, the this keyword refers to the global object in Node, because we're running it with Node, and that's why we get this undefined output, because it doesn't know of any name property.